Hey friends, I hope you're all doing well. I am doing well myself. So we're getting ready to go out to a story time with the kids tonight. They're going to go see a reading of the Polar Express, and there's going to be a train conductor there and a little train that they have, and it's going to be a really exciting night. Then we're going out to dinner. So I figured I would do a little get ready with me. Oh, bless you, baby. Bless you. We've got children like walking around in the background there. So I figured I would do a little get ready with me, and I would do a little story time about just everything that's going on with my cancer diagnosis. If you don't know, I was diagnosed with breast cancer just a couple of months ago. I have a video about it. I'll try to link it up here. If it's not linked up here, it will definitely be linked down below as well. But I was diagnosed with breast cancer stage 1, and I've been working towards treatment and recovery ever since. It has been a ride, and so I just wanted to discuss some updates with that since we are already here. One thing that I did want to talk about in the start before we get into this makeup look and little fashion look here is a lot of people have been asking me how they can help financially, and that is such a really kind sentiment in my mind. Well, one, supporting my channel, supporting my Instagram, that really does help. But other than that, actually donating to groups and organizations, non-for-profit organizations that specialize in cancer outreach, basically medical advocacy, things like that. I think that's a little bit of a better way to go. I'm very fortunate that, you know, my husband has a really good job and really good insurance. And so, you know, there's a little bit of extra like hotel costs and stuff like that for travel for surgery. You know, we pay for that out of pocket, but the majority of our costs are covered by insurance, and so I'm very blessed in that sense. So I don't need y'all donating to me, but if you guys do donate to these other organizations, I would be very appreciative of that. And it is a tax write-off because these are all 501c3, 501c4 non-for-profit organizations, accredited, been vetted by different people, many people. I'm having a hard time, like, you know, I have a whole circus going on back here, so I'm having a hard time concentrating. But my point is, please donate to the organizations down below. They're vetted, they're accredited, there are official non-for-profits. You can get a tax write-off for it, and it will help a wider range of people who desperately need the help as well. So without further ado, I've already rambled on too long. Let's get into this look right here. Hey guys, okay, so I think what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to do it by sections. So I'm going to tell you everything that I'm using to do the base of my face, everything that I'm using for my eyes, everything that I'm using for my mouth, and then I'm just going to go straight into the talking points. So for the base of my face, I've already prepped and primed it. I used Tatcha, what's it called, like their tonic water, and then I use Glow Recipe, their watermelon glow, and then just some Tatcha moisturizer. Then I'm going to go in with this Chanel primer right here. I've really been enjoying this one. I forgot to stock up on my YSL one, which I also really like. It gives like just a little bit of sparkle to your face, but I can't get any more out the bottle, so I'm using the Chanel one today. Then I'm using this Tom Ford foundation right here. This has been one of my favorites, and it's a really good skin match. They also have a really good shade range for my darker skin girls, so I like using this as a foundation. Then I'm going to be using this Gucci powder here as a bronzer. I do wish they had some darker colors. This is not all that dark, as you can see, but it does work really well, or fair enough, on my complexion, and I do really like the way it feels, and I do like the finished look for me, though they can definitely go darker. Gucci, you need to go darker. And then I am going to be using this Gucci blush for today. I'm using the blush because I bought it and I want to use it up. It is a very beautiful blush. It also looks really good on the eyes too, but honestly my opinion is for what you're getting, it's not enough. So Gucci Beauty does not excite me. They have the potential to be really good, but they're not quite getting there yet. So okay, and I think I've talked about trigger warnings at the beginning of this video, but just so you know, this video is going to be talking about cancer and surgeries and whatnot. So if that triggers you, this may not be a video that you want to watch. So fair warning. Okay, so about my cancer. I have what's called multifocal invasive ductal carcinoma, which basically means it's the basic type of breast cancer, but I have multiple tumors in a specific quadrant of my breast. So I have more than 15 little itty bitty tiny tumors in my breast, which sounds very scary. Because it is very scary to some degree. I also have inflammation in my axillary lymph nodes, which is the lymph nodes right underneath your armpit, adjacent to the ductal glands. So that is what's going on with me. And I have a video explaining how I found it and basically, you know, the steps to getting diagnosed and whatnot. So if you're not caught up on that, I'll have the video linked down below, and I'll try to remember to put a card up for it as well. But go check that out to get more information on that. So having multifocal invasive ductal carcinoma, that is a mouthful to say. Doesn't really affect the prognosis or my overall effectiveness of treatment moving forward versus if it was just you know, a single tumor with the invasive ductal carcinoma. My chances and outlook are, like, you know, for everything are pretty much the same. It's sitting around 90 to 99.9% of survivability rate, and so I always just try to keep that at the forefront of my mind, since, you know, it is a very scary time for me and for my family. But to remember that we are living in a time where, you know, for cancer stages 0 through 3, it is curable with surgeries, with chemotherapy, with radiation, with hormone therapies. There is stuff that you can do so that you can live a life, you know, without cancer moving forward, which is what I am looking forward to. By the way, I forgot, I am going to be using a concealer to kind of brighten up underneath my eyes. I'm going to be using the Forever Skin Corrector from Christian Dior. I really do enjoy this one. I do think this one is worth the price as well. Some luxury items really aren't worth the price, especially with makeup. You're really just paying for the label. However, I really do like this concealer here from Dior. I really like Dior, their makeup line in general. I feel like they do some of the best makeup of all these luxury brands. I don't feel like I'm just paying for the name. I feel like I'm actually getting a quality makeup product. So let's talk about my treatment plan, because I have more information on that, and that gets me both nervous and excited at the same time. Well, actually, first, let me back up. Let me talk about my genetic testing, because that came back in last night and I'm really excited about it. So the first thing we did when I met with the breast surgeon at the beginning of November was we did genetic testing, because we wanted to see, you know, if we had to worry about anything else. And my genetic testing came back and there were no markings of significance for me to be worried about. So my BRCA genes all came back negative. I have never been so happy to see negative in my life. I feel like in like healthcare situations, negative is such a positive thing. I was really happy about that. I also had to have ultrasounds done on my ovaries because I'm developing ovarian cyst again, or at least it felt like I was developing ovarian cyst again, which is something normal for me. I've always dealt with that. They've never been quite fun. But because of everything with the cancer, my doctors have been very proactive of any changes, getting them checked out. So I had an ultrasound on Wednesday after getting back from Spokane and meeting with the plastic surgeon, and fortunately everything was good with that ultrasound too. So I feel like every appointment I'm going to, things are looking better and better and better as they can be. So that makes me really happy. But as far as my treatment plan goes, chemotherapy isn't really going to be effective. I have stage 1 breast cancer. So what that means, stage 1 can mean a lot of different things. It really just depends on the individual and, you know, what things are looking like for them. For me, I have lots of itty bitty teeny tiny tumors. The biggest one is about 4 centimeters or 4 centimeters, millimeters. It's very tiny. I think it's millimeters. I honestly can't. It's probably millimeters because centimeters would be big, but or bigger. But they're very, very tiny. They're very tiny, and while they have kind of broken through the cell wall, they're just starting to break through the cell wall, and chemo's just not really effective at that stage. So that is a good thing. I definitely, oh gosh, okay, you know, it's nice that there's one thing that I probably don't have to deal with. I'm very happy about that. My doctors are hoping that radiation also isn't going to be needed because I am doing a bilateral mastectomy. Basically what that means is they're removing the breast tissue from both of my breasts. So these girls are going goodbye, which is kind of sad in a way, but if it saves my life, I'm all for it. And it's kind of funny because I was telling my mom and I was telling Steven that I was kind of lower, you know. The biggest that I've ever gotten was triple D's after my baby girl was born, and they kind of went down, but I was still sitting at around a triple D for a while, and I was just over it. And I was talking about, you know, maybe I would get a breast reduction because I didn't really want to deal with having such big breast. And then, you know, the size started going down. I'm back down to a D right now. And then all this stuff happened. I'm just like, no, I'm finally happy with the size I am. But they are getting removed. So the mastectomy doesn't really worry me at all. I was hoping for a lumpectomy in the beginning, but just with the nature, especially after getting the MRI scan and seeing everything, the nature of it, it just makes more sense to get a mastectomy, and I'm doing a bilateral mastectomy. Now, why bilateral and not just on the left side? Several reasons. So when we got the MRI done, things were popping up on the right side too. I was stopping my breastfeeding, and so I was all backed up and clogged up with milk. It's kind of hard to tell if there's anything we should be worried about on the right side as well. There's a chance that there's something to worry about. There's a chance that there's nothing to worry about. And at this stage is not likely that the breast cancer will spread to my other breast. So that's like a reason, you know, to not be so aggressive. But in my mind, if I'm already going to go through reconstruction surgery, and if, you know, breast cancer develops again, it kind of limits my options of what I can do with the second bout of reoccurrence. So why not just do everything at once? And I also feel like cosmetically, it's just going to look a lot better to like cut them out and start again, which is, you know, maybe a weird way of thinking about it, but that is how I'm thinking about it. So we want to get a biopsy done on the breast after things have been removed on the right side, just to see if there was anything to worry about on that side. But either way, I came to the conclusion that, you know, regardless if there's anything there or not, I want to do a bilateral mastectomy. And so who thought I would be saying that at the age of 32? But here we are. I thought I was done with my face, but I want to do a highlight on my cheeks and on my nose. I am using Chanel highlighter. This was part of their holiday collection, and I got it for my son because it has like the moon on it, and he has been like obsessed with this. He loves anything celestial. Ask him what his favorite star is. Betelgeuse and Rigel. can't stop talking about them. Oh my gosh, my my son is so smart. Every mom says their child is so smart, and I'm not knocking it, but my child is so smart, and just anything galactic, celestial, like he's just going to study and he's going to know it. So I love big upping my son whenever I can. All my children, I love them. I love how inquisitive and smart they are. It's just amazing to me. Okay, we are going to move on to my eyes, and I think I am just really going to use these palettes here from Dior. These are the Backstage palettes. I love these. I do think they're a really good value. You get 8 shades and a primer in this packet. They run $48 or $49, around $50, which I feel is pretty close to some other, you know, major palettes. The packaging is really quite cheap in my opinion. They really chinsed down on the packaging, but the color payout that you get with these is really nice. So I do like these. And then I'm going to use my Chanel Tweed palette. This was like my first introduction into Chanel eyeshadows, and honestly, I could care less. It's not that they're not pretty, but for the price that you pay for Chanel Quad, I feel like you can get a lot better quality, even from drugstore makeup, to be honest. It's not that they're not bright and vibrant. I don't care. I like a very subdued style sometimes. It's just that these were super powdery. And sometimes the color payoff I found with the quads were good, and other times they just weren't. And I feel like a lot of the shade range that they have is not really good for darker skin. So not my favorite. Will not be buying, or likely won't be buying, another Chanel Quad, but this color right here is an absolutely amazing topper, so I am going to use that as a topper. So by the way, I have these brushes from SL Miss Glam, so I think I am going to use these for my eyes. I got these, I think, in an Ipsy package, but I really do enjoy her brushes. She does have really nice quality brushes, so I'll link her site down below if you're interested in her brushes, because her brushes are really nice. So let's talk about what I'm actually doing for reconstruction. I am doing what's called a deep flap, or analogous tissue reconstruction. Analogous tissue reconstruction is just going to be the umbrella term for what's going on, which is basically meaning I'm using my own body to reconstruct my breast. Analogous meaning the same. And I'm opting for the deep flap method, which really just refers to the type of tissue and blood vessels that we're going to be pulling from, to make a slightly complicated procedure just a little bit better understandable. I didn't phrase that right, but I think you know what I mean. They're basically going to be performing a tummy tuck, removing a section of my belly, everything from just under my belly button to above my pubic area. They're going to cut that out. They're going to pull the skin down, so it's going to be a tummy tuck. And then all of the skin that they removed, they're going to cut that in half and use it to recreate my breast. They're going to take the capillaries in that area and reattach them to blood vessels that I have on my chest and into my rib cage, so I'll have blood flow in that area and really just rebuild my body, which is amazing that we live in a day and age where we can do that. So yeah, that's just, it blows my mind, but you know, modern medicine is beautiful, it's amazing, and it's scary. I'm not gonna lie, it's scary. So this is the scariest part for me, is the reconstruction. So I have, and I think I just said this earlier, I have come to terms with the fact that I am getting my boobs removed. You know, the double mastectomy doesn't scare me at all. It's about a 3-hour procedure. With my mastectomy, they are doing skin preserving and nipple preserving procedure. which means that I will hopefully maintain my actual nipples and won't have to get those reconstructed. Because I'm sitting at a D, the capillaries needed to keep the nipples alive are kind of spaced out further than they would have been if I was a smaller size. So when I talked to my plastic surgeon, he was like, just, you know, be aware that there's a possibility of nipple death happening, which means that my nipples don't get the blood supply needed to survive the surgery. But he sings the praises of my breast surgeon, and my breast surgeon is just a sweet woman. She seems so skillful, and my husband has several co-workers who have had breast cancer or have people in their family who've had breast cancer, and they sing her praises too. So I'm feeling really confident about being able to keep my boobs. I think I'm going to go for like a redder look for tonight. We're going to go to a story time with the kiddos. It's going to be the Polar Express. They're going to have a train conductor there. And the kids are going to be in their PJs, and there's going to be a little train. And so we're really excited about that. So that's why I'm getting dressed, by the way. But yeah, let's go back to, I forgot to put on my primer. Oh my gosh. I forgot to put on my eye primer. No wonder this isn't looking the way it's supposed to look. Dang it. Okay. Okay, I'm back. I had to get this stuff off my eye and put on the primer. I'm like, this red's not popping the way it generally is supposed to pop. Dang it. Okay. I wasted all that time. Okay. So what was I talking about? The reconstruction process. So I have a good breast surgeon. He said the chances of me being able to keep my nipple or my nipples is likely because she's skilled, but just the risk is a lot higher of them not being kept with the size that my breasts are at. So I'm just preparing myself for that. But other than that, the procedure is not routine. It's major surgery, and I don't want to pretend that it's not major surgery. It is major surgery, right? It is anywhere between a 6 to 10, 11-hour surgery, and that's just because it's a microvascular surgery, which means they're basically just knitting together different blood vessels to keep, to create a new breast and keep it alive, which is, again, science nowadays is crazy amazing. And so I'm very blessed that God decided that I'm going to live in this day and age, because I've got options, and I am so thankful for those options. But that is why I feel I am more so worried about the reconstruction, just because there are a lot of moving parts going on, and we are creating a brand new injury to my body in order to create something else. Of course, I could have gone the implant route. I know a lot of women go that route, but I've just never had good luck with foreign bodies inside of me for very long. It's always caused inflammation to the point where I've been checked for arthritis and MS and other things multiple times, and just found out my body was rejecting something that I had inside me. So I just feel that implants aren't a good option for me. So we are going to be doing this procedure instead. Now this color should show up. Okay, yeah. I don't know if it's showing up in camera, but it's showing up in this mirror here a lot better. Okay, thank God. Okay. So the recovery for the deep flat procedure is going to be about 3 to 4 months, with the hardest bit going to be the first couple of weeks. It was funny because I can't really be around animals during like the first, well, not at all during the recovery really, but especially during, the first couple of weeks, because I have my drainage tubes in, and you don't want to get cat scratch degrees disease or anything like that. And so he was asking, like, what kind of animals do you guys have at home? It's like, oh, you know, a cat, like 6 birds, bunnies. And he's like, wait, what? He's like, are you a farmer? I'm like, an urban farmer, yeah. So my lovely husband is going to be taking care of all the animals during this time. But I think the hardest bit is I'm not really allowed to lift more than 5 to 10 pounds during this entire recovery period. And I have 3 children. And so he was like, you know, towards the end, you'll probably be able to, like, you know, pick up your babies, your younger babies, you know, because they're around 20-25 pounds. But it's going to be a while before I can pick up my eldest, who is going to be 5 by the time I start this. Oh wow, he's going to be 5. He's going to be 5 by the time I start this procedure. So, yeah, that's just something that I'm mentally preparing myself for too, is just the relationship that I'm having with my children is changing because of this disease, and it's just different for me. So there's that. But the good thing with the deep slap, oh my gosh, the good thing with the deep flap procedure is that unlike implants, I likely won't need any other surgery after I get the deep flap done. It's done in stages too. I didn't talk about that, but I'll get my mastectomy done and early to mid January. And then after I get the mastectomy done, I have to wait about a week for pathology to come back to say I'm cancer free, and I can't wait to say I'm cancer free. And then I get the clearing to do my reconstruction. So reconstruction is scheduled a week out from my double mastectomy. And then after I get the first deep, or not the first deep flap, after I get the deep flap done, I recover from that. I then go in, they go to see, you know, what's not looking right. And then I get liposuction, and they literally take my fat to fill in any areas that aren't looking the same. And that's the one thing I didn't cover. I'm going down to a B or maybe a C. It depends on how much fat I can gain. Your girl, like, I got a tummy, you know, so I was like, okay, no problem. I can at least get back up to the size I am. I thought that I could at least get up to a D, you know, the fat I got on my belly. And the plastic surgeon's like, no girl, you'll be lucky if you even like scratch a C cup. Like, definitely a full B, but C maybe. The C's kind of pushing it. And so that's why I just thought it was so funny how I was talking about I want a breast reduction. Then I got fine with, you know, being at a D. And now it's just like, girl, you're going to be a B. But, you know, it's all good. My life is, you know, going to be here. It's going to be preserved. And that's the only thing that really matters at this point. So I'm just so thankful that this is an option. Because, you know, it's not an option for everybody. I fortunately, even though I keep joking that I live out in the boonies, because I really do, I do live in a town full of scientific minds and just really intelligent, smart people. A lot of cool things happen in this area, and it means we have really talented doctors as well. And so I'm very fortunate to have access to these, you know, type of doctors. Most women do not go for a deep flap reconstruction, if they go for reconstruction at all, because they have to travel a far distance to get it done. And I only just have to travel like, you know, 2 hours to get it done. And then any treatments that I need to get done, my breast surgeon who's in town can also do it. So I'm very fortunate in that manner. And I'm using the Chanel topper right here from the Tweed palette. It's absolutely beautiful and sparkly. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but this is so beautiful. And every time I wear it, people are like, oh my goodness, what are you wearing on your eyes? It's the only reason I can give to buy this particular palette. Is this sparkle topper right here. It's beautiful. But yeah, other than that, I'm just not a fan of the Chanel quad palettes here. that's a pretty look. I think I'm going to go do underneath my eyes a little bit to smoke it out. I'm just gonna sound like, you know, a record on repeat, but I do just want to keep re-emphasizing how thankful I am for just being in this day and age and time and place where I really do have so many resources available to me, and just be really cognizant of the fact that I am blessed, because even in this day and age and time, not everybody has the same access to resources as I do. And literally having these access to resources, like not having to worry about getting even an initial appointment to get something that I thought was off with my body checked out. Not everybody has the ability to do that. And so I'm just really thankful that I do have that ability, because that has probably saved my life. And I just kind of want to keep talking about it, because everybody should have the ability to do that. So yeah, I'm just really thankful and blessed in that situation, or in this circumstance. Just in general, I'm blessed. I know I'm blessed and highly favored. But yeah, it's just makes me a little angry at times, honestly, just thinking about the fact that I'm afforded the opportunity to make sure, you know, I can check on my health at any point and it not be a problem. But there are literally people who look like me in this country who can't do the same. And so that is something we need to continuously talk about, but we'll talk about that later. So I guess the last thing I want to talk about is my outlook on things. Just talk about the mental a little bit, because it has definitely been a mental ride, a ride that I just couldn't ever imagine being on, a ride that I don't want any of y'all watching to ever have to go on, but one that has definitely taught me a lot about myself. One of my friends, when I told them about what's going on, her response was something along the lines of, you know, I'm proud of how strong you're being, even though you should never have to have been that strong. And that resonated with me, because one of the things I really hear a lot of times, like, oh, you've got this, you're so strong. And I feel like a lot of people say that to, well, women in general. People are always telling women how strong they are, but like Black women in particular, people are always telling us how strong we are, and not really recognizing like the weakness and fragility that we have. And I feel like this diagnosis really kind of exposed to me how fragile I can be. Like, I always knew that I was soft and that it was fragile, but this diagnosis has really exposed how fragile I can be. There have been very emotionally hard days for me, just dealing with different aspects of this disease, both physically and socially. So I just really appreciated the statement that she made, you know, recognizing that I should have never had to be this strong, and yet I'm still rising to the occasion. But it's an occasion that I'm rising to, right? It's not the default that I have. It's something that I am becoming because of the situation that I am in. Y'all, I feel like I am so bad at putting on eyeliner. It is a struggle. Okay, I am going to move on to my lips, and I'm going to do my lashes in a little bit. For my lips, I think I'm going to go with this red color, the Sweet Berry from the Chanel Lip Duos. I do highly recommend these. These are actually really, really nice. And they're super long lasting as well. So highly recommend these from Chanel. Another thing that I've noticed is this diagnosis hasn't really just affected me. It's affected my family, it's affected my friends, and that has been really hard for me to deal with too, just thinking about it from an egotistical perspective. Some of my friends have handled it very well. Some of my friends have, you know, family have been strong, not because they are strong, but again, it's an occasion they have to rise to, and they have to become strong. and some of my friends have not handled it very well at all. And I appreciate all positions, because it's not an easy thing to hear. Like, I know if my friends just get like a cut, I feel so bad for them. And some of my friends, you know, hearing it, it just hasn't really been easy for them to deal with. Some of my friends have had to back away for their own mental health. And I don't think that's anything that they should have felt, you know, ashamed about. Because it's hard. It's very hard. One of my friends, when I told him that I had breast cancer, his response was like, okay. And then he didn't talk to me for about 2.5 weeks, you know, after I told him. And I did feel some way about it at first. But then after a couple of days, I had to kind of remind myself that this is someone who I've been friends with for decades at this point. And even though, you know, it's a very high survivability rate, knowing that I'm still going through all these changes and not really having the power to really do anything, I know my husband was really struggling with that, and I could imagine he was probably really struggling with that too. We've been talking every day since. You know, he's kind of gathered his thoughts and his emotions together, and we just really don't talk about this topic because I know it's really triggering for him. But, you know, I think this is one of the sides of cancer diagnosis that, you know, as the person with it, you have to understand that not everybody in your circle has the wherewithal to handle it at that moment. And I just feel the need to be really respectful of that for my friends who just, you know, it's hard for them. Some of my other friends, on the other point, I have some friends who are ready to move in at this point. And that both responses to me are beautiful in different ways. You know, it shows different types of relationships that I have. But I do find that especially beautiful. And, you know, even some people who I don't really know, just the outreach of support that I've been getting has been really nice. I'm a very introverted person, so at times some of it has been really overwhelming, but I also understand a lot of people just want more information about what's happening, and so I do try my best to put that information out there. Because people just want to know. They just want to know, and they want to know what they can do to help, which has been really nice. One thing that a lot of people have asked is like, how can we support you financially? And well, one, watch my videos, watch my reels. That helps me financially. But more to the point, I have really good insurance, like really good insurance, and I have breast cancer, which falls under, I think it's the 1998 Women's Health Care Act. So in America, if you have health care and you've been diagnosed with breast cancer, all subsequent treatments are covered by insurance. So we had gotten a bill for like $700 for testing, no, $700 for my mammogram because I'm under the age of 40. Therefore, the mammogram they said wasn't necessary, even though it definitely was. And then we had gotten like a $300 bill for genetic testing, but we can turn that all over now because I have cancer, breast cancer. So now all that is covered by insurance. So I'm very fortunate in that there's like hotel stays and stuff like that, but we do have good paying jobs, so I'm not too worried about that. If you would like to do something financially to help, I'll list down below some cancer organizations nationwide that you can donate to. These are vetted, these will be vetted organizations, not-for-profit organizations. So you can also write it off on your taxes too. It's the end of the year, so you can write it off on your taxes. But I'll list these organizations down below so that you can donate there. Get a tax write-off and help a wider reach of people. Because like I said, I'm very fortunate with the position that I'm in. there's a lot of people who aren't. And I would much rather any resources that I can gather through talking about my story be directed to people who really do need I cannot speak, who need that financial support more than I do. I'm just putting on magnetic lashes at the moment. I had some lash extensions in. I'm giving my eyes a rest though, but I think I'll get some lash extensions done before I go on vacation. Just so I don't have to worry about my eyelashes during vacation. I think that'll be nice. I think the last thing I want to talk about was my own mental health though. I kind of touched about how other people's reactions affected me, but I just want to talk about, you know, my own mental health in general. It has been a lot, but what's really helped me is my faith and just my really strong spiritual connection that I have with God. I feel like that has really gotten me through a lot whenever I just feel really down and overwhelmed about what's happening to me. I meditate and I pray, and instant comfort, instant relief when I do that. It doesn't always change how I feel, but I don't necessarily feel as alone when I pray and when I, you know, speak to God about what's going on. You know, I do feel a lot of comfort. I do feel like I get a lot of strength that way. Also, I am looking for, so I have done therapy so many times. I am a big advocate for therapy. Talking, you know, just talking out what you're going through is such an amazing tool that we can use to really kind of navigate our feelings and then also make a plan for what we want to do and what we want to happen next. So I've really been talking out what's been going on with me, but I think the next step that I really want is to find a cancer treatment therapist. They have therapists that specifically deal with people going through cancer treatments because, y'all, it's a lot. Again, this is something I would not wish on my worst enemy. It is a lot. So why can't what's wrong with me? See, I can't put on lashes and talk. I can't do that. Can't do that. That is a no-go. Okay. Put the lash on the wrong eye. All that time, put the lash on the wrong eye. Oh my gosh. Okay. But yeah, I'm really looking to find a therapist who just specifically deals with cancer patients and talk to them that way. Some of my friends have also put me in touch with other women who have gone through breast cancer. So I'm gonna just start talking to them. I find that a lot of people are just open to helping me find people who I can communicate with and just kind of, you know, vent if need be, or, you know, be someone who I can bounce thoughts and needs and ideas off of. So that has been really nice and really useful for me. Oh my gosh, these magnetic lashes weren't supposed to be that hard, but oh my gosh, they were so hard. I don't know why. Okay, I apologize for any of the noise in the background. One of my children have woken up. So I have like this little pearly dress that I got from Forever 21. They actually do have some really cute things. Hi, baby. Okay, I want to restart by saying that one of my children woke up, but now I have two of them up in this room. So I'm gonna finish up real quickly. But I have these earrings right here. These ones I actually picked up from Amazon. They are not real Gucci fashion earrings. I always like to be transparent about dupes when I can. So they were actually advertised as something else. They weren't advertised as a replica. They were advertised as a dupe. So not like the actual Gucci logo. And when they arrived, they were actually replicas. A bad one too, because the actual Gucci earrings that look like this, it was a stud for the GG and then it dripped the fake jewel. So not a good replica. but they're really pretty, you know, on their own. So I do like wearing those. And then I have real freshwater pearls, so I'm going to put into my my other piercing up here if I can find the itty bitty hole. Okay, so I have my pearls on. I have this really cute pearl detailed dress. I got it from Forever 21. And then the top is actually from my great aunt. This is her top. It's a guest top. And it's a really cute like see-through white pullover shirt. I really enjoy like just matching it with different things. And then I have like this little beaded like head piece. I don't know what you call it. But you know, like that, the headpiece thing. You know what I'm talking about. I picked that up from Amazon as well. If I can find anything else from Amazon that I can link for you guys, I'll go ahead and do that. Y'all, my children are sick of me. He was just gotten quiet. Oh my god. Oh my god, that moon is gorgeous. Oh wow. My children are sick of me. I can't do anything else but be their mother, so I have to wrap up here soon. I was trying to debate what bag I wanted to bring out tonight. Like I said, we are going to story time for the kiddos. Got to get them in their PJs for that. But I was originally kind of debating between this little clutch unchained here from Chanel. It has all the pearl detail on it too, and it kind of goes with the pearl aesthetic that I went for today, or my wallet on chain. This bag here is absolutely gorgeous perfection, but it also has that little CC, double CC pearl detail right there. So I thought these would be really good options for tonight. And I like that they were also on the smaller side too. But then I forgot I actually have a Karl Lagerfeld bag. And this is the bag right here. This is actually, it's not a reissue, although it's built like a reissue, but this is from Karl Lagerfeld's brand. And it's this beautiful tweed with, let me turn this light down, but it's this beautiful tweed bag. It has a lot of pinks and greens and some reds in it, and whites with all this pearl detail right here. It's a big bag though. It's a very big bag, and we're gonna have the kids bag with us. But I haven't worn this bag in a long time. I typically only wear this bag in the winter time, so I feel like now is the time to wear it. So even though it's a lot bigger than what I actually need for tonight, I do think that this is the bag I'm going to use for my outfit tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining me on a long little story time here, but I really do appreciate you guys listening to my story and just what I've been going through with this whole cancer journey that I'm ready to be done with. I just know that I'm going to be over cancer in 2023. I keep saying cancer free in 2023. That's going to be me. I'm very excited for it. I hope you guys are excited for it too. If you guys have any questions, if you are going through the same thing, just let me know down below. I'm being more communicative on social media. I know that's like a really bad downside for me, but I'm working on that. But again, just thank you guys so much for kind words and support and just everything that you guys have been doing as well. It's a hot mess having kids, y'all. But I do have the link to American Cancer Society down below where you guys can donate and how you can get involved locally if you are interested in doing something to help out for those who have cancer as well. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, noon, night, whatever time it is you're watching this, and I'll see you next time. Bye!